The skill is still there. Yeah, the skill is there. Ni nguvu. Thank you for clarifying. Oh, hi guys, this is Ngachira and I'm here at Showtime Studios.
Gari ndio hiyo.
Ilikuwa kesi.
Sawa, cheki bro, usikufa kwa bed sita Nairobi. Ukiumana wewe kuja Nyeri ujenge kwenyu.
Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ngachira. Now most of you know him in the field of comedy and he hosts one of the biggest TV shows in the country. All the way from Nyeri guys, Ngachira. Karibu sana. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Sasa nikuulize swali. The first thing I really want to know whether you were always this funny when you were a child.
No, I wasn't. Puberty just did not work out for me. So to talk to girls, I needed to adapt.
Okay. So by the guys is very funny. That's why I started asking him this question because he had been laughing throughout the conversation. So, when did you start doing comedy? What age did you start doing comedy?
2018. 2018, I always used to like MC people's events, like whether like people would have a wedding and I'd MC their evening party. People would have people would have graduations. They'd call me to MC because maybe they didn't want the one from their mother who would come. So and when a bit some more fun when they do the events. So at that time there are these guys called BYSS because it's an improv show, and they wanted stand-up comedians. So at that time, I didn't have a lot of money. I always wanted to go to stand-up to watch them, but the tickets were too expensive. So the only way I could go and take a date there was if I could go and perform. Okay. So I only ended up in comedy because I was trying to take a date somewhere. Right. Yeah.
So you went to Kenyatta University. Yes. And you pursued law. Yes. So do you still do law and comedy, or it's just full-time comedy?
I quit my job the beginning of this year for comedy, but for the longest time I was doing stand-up. It was I'd leave work and then go and make people laugh in the evening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then where do you get your inspiration from? Do you always watch a little bit of Kevin Hart and Eddie Murphy? Where do you get inspiration from?
You know me, I'm from Nyeri. My inspirations are Shikwekwe and Baba Zero.
No, we know in Kenya they have this kind of comedy. They have like a DJ laughing behind the scenes, like Churchill. But now you have like it's more Western kind of comedy.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, Kenyans' taste is changing, yeah? Like, Kenyans are watching foreign movies. They watch very well done drama. They consume very well done music. But we want them to stay the same at comedy. Yeah. So like it's just a natural progression of the way comedy is heading, where if there's no way if Kenyans are going to enjoy watching Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart, then they must have someone who has a similar format, but is in their where it's not very, Kenyan comedy was very, how do I put it? It's very cartoonish in the sense that you play a character and then you have to look dumb and everything. What we'd like is where it's okay to be smart and funny. Yeah. Like it's okay to tell your kid that you don't have to be a joker to be a comedian. Yeah.
Okay. So we know that you started like a stand-up comedian, and before then you were doing poetry. So you started as a stand-up comedian from the what was the show? BYSS. Okay. So how were you able to transit from being a stand-up comedian to writing a script for television?
First of all, I'm still a stand-up comedian. Stand-up comedy is my first love. Everything I do about comedy stems from stand-up comedy. So the reason I actually got this job was because of stand-up comedy. But for me to get on the TV show, what happened was there's a show in the US called The Daily Show. Okay. The one that's hosted by Trevor Noah, the South African, yeah? So the guys who do The Daily Show there wanted to have a similar show in Africa. Okay. So when they came, they started looking for comedians who would. Yes. So they looked around, the popular ones, maybe they thought, maybe not so much. Because when I talk about politics, about those things. Now, as fate would have it, I was dealing in politics. I work in governance and policy, but I'm also a comedian. Okay. So when they met me, they didn't tell me what they were telling me for. So we just talked with a couple. I thought a random wazungus who talked about comedy, and then they left. So then I got a call one day from New York. And they told me, yeah, we decided this show and we think you're the guy who's going to host the show. And that's how,
Wow.
Yeah.
So in stand-up comedy, we know that you talk more. It's more related to your personal issues, and for example, or maybe what people go through.
Yes.
So what about in TV shows? Are you normally directed on the topics that you're supposed to talk about, or is it that you come up with your own content?
When we talk about what Kenyans are talking about that week, if Kenyans are talking about the debate, we're going to talk about the debate. If Kenyans are talking about the election, I don't know if somebody that do the fail somewhere. Generally, whatever we are talking about is what Kenyans will talk about. But the show primarily is a civic education, public participation show. It wants to engage, especially the young people in Kenya's middle class, to engage with politics. Because we believe if you can make you laugh about something, you don't fear it anymore. So if you can make you laugh about the president, then the fear goes away and you can now engage. Yes.
Okay. Let's go back kidogo. You're doing a little bit of dancing earlier on.
How much earlier? Yeah, dance was my first, I think, expression at. Yeah, I used to be a dancer. And then I became a poet and then a comedian.
Okay, can you tell us the poster?
Oh no, that time I think that was around 2010, 2010. I'd just come from high school, and that time the step up movies were really big that time. And so in high school, Kenyan high school had a lot of like reggae guys. So in high school, I was a hip hop guy. So I'd watch shows and then I'd do the choreography with Chris Brown and Omarion. And I'd come and we'd teach guys. So when you go for the next funky, you guys can look cool, yeah? So what happened after high school, we didn't know what to do with our talent. So we went, we wore masks all around, and then we went and started dancing in the middle of Nyeri town. And the reason we wore masks was because our parents were known. And so like we wanted people to enjoy the dance but didn't know who we were. And that time there was an American group called Jabawakis that used to dance with masks. So they were a big inspiration to us that time. Yeah.
Okay. So did you have an audience then? Like a poster?
Yeah, once you start, people in town are generally idle. If you just start doing something fun, people watasimama waone na waitishi pesa. Si wataona, unajua I'm not like a preacher. Nitawahubiria alafu niwaambie hiyo sermon haiko ya bure. No, it was just come, it's something we enjoy doing, and then
Okay. So you moved. You found that there's a gap in Nyeri where comedy is not really appreciated like it is in Nairobi. So how are you able to discover that you would actually do well? You didn't think of like maybe starting something in Nyeri. Why did you choose Nairobi to Nyeri? Oh, it's because generally Kenya's comedy scene is very young. Churchill is a mainstream one, and it has its audience, and it's a good one. But our audience, for people to believe in us, we had to start somewhere where all of Kenyans could congregate. So that for us, that was Nairobi, because that's where we were all working. We have a job, because we were not being paid at first for this. It was you go, you do your job, and then you come back and try and make people laugh. And then you meet together with other comedians. Every Monday you meet with comedians, and then you engage and tell each other jokes. And then you tell you in a way, how you could make it better like this. So the next time, so you're performing on Wednesday and all those days. So now in Nairobi, at least every day of the week, there's a place, if you're an upcoming comedian, you can get and perform. You see, to an audience who's willing to listen. So the reason we started there was I'm part of a group called Startup Collective on Punchline Comedy Club Nairobi. So what we do, we are big on stand-up. Last month we had a comedian from South Africa and a comedian from the US. The US is called Martin Monroe, and the South African guy is called Dumiso Lindi. So these are guys who've been performing comedy for like 25 years. So they're coming to see a scene that's starting to grow in Kenya, and now starting to appreciate how we're exposing comics to how much better comedy would be if you take it seriously. Yes. So let's talk about the challenges. What are some of the challenges that you've gone through in your career as a comedian? Have you ever done a show that has been like sidelined by the audience and they're like, nah, that was not good? How were you able to cope with the situation?
Yeah. If you're a comedian, you have. I've been booed off stage by 2,000 people at the same time. There was a bank that was doing a merge, and then they called comedians to come in. So we came expecting a chipkizi, and then they were like, to a G. And then I was performing, and then Nyashinsky was supposed to perform next. So I was between them, the alcohol and Nyashinsky. So of course we had to be chased out of there like nobody's business.
Oh my God. How are you able to handle that afterwards? How are you able to come back on stage and do it again?
The problem is comedy is a unique art because comedians are not separated from their art. You can say I like this song as Sauti Sol, but spend this song ingine Sauti Sol. Yes. But people don't realize with comedians they say, you like this joke, but it's not so much. People say, where do you seem funny? Where seem funny? It's not a... People, we treat comedy like a talent and not like a skill. Yeah. Where we can tell people, okay, you're not doing really well now, but it's a skill that you can work on and get better at. Okay. It's not like a talent where it's inherently, I'm a funny guy, I'm not a funny guy. Yeah. Even the most boring person in the world can be a comedian if they decide I'm going to put in the hours. It's like a kulima. If you treat it like a skill, mtu mwenye uko na talent ya kulima, unamjenga unaweza nifunze. So someone say nifunze comedy. Okay. That can happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, so we know that you've done, okay, as I had mentioned earlier, you've done law, you've done poetry, you've done dancing, you've done all those things. So do you ever like think about maybe doing them, maybe sometime, maybe have you ever thought of maybe one day you'll go back to writing poetry? And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, you know, your poetry. Were you writing your poetry and where were you like reciting it?
So I was a runner-up at Slam Africa. So it's a competition that brings around comedians from across the continent, and we do something called slam poetry. So you spoken word poetry, you write and then you perform in front of people. And so yeah, now when I write poetry, I don't know, I just write for the people around me now. I just kufurahisha the people around me. But now I don't, it's not as serious as it used to be, because now comedy, even comedians at their core are poets. Yeah. But our goal is just to make you laugh with what we are saying. Yeah. But yeah, so all of them have to do with public performance. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So guys, by the way, he's from Nyeri. There are people out there thinking that probably he's from the States or Nyeri scooter.
Yeah, born and bred.
Yeah. Well, you can see, guys, you have lots and lots of talents from Nyeri. So well, what are your future plans in comedy? Are you planning to like do it like...
Yeah. So I'm planning to have a comedy special. I want to record right now. Also right now I'm on Showmax. We are doing something. We're on Showmax. There's something called the roast of. The roast. So we are roasting different kinds of celebrities. So as it's happening right now. So if you have a Showmax subscription, just go look for the roast of, and we just today it's Sanaipe, tomorrow it's Elviri, Boniface Mwangi, and we go around and we talk about such things. That's amazing. So
Tai, watu uko nje ufikiria joke tu ni joke, mtu anamkaga tu na kijoke tu. So like unafanyagaje technique yako ya kuphrase joke fulani ndio itokee wase wacheke, unafanyagaje?
So at its core, kukuwa na joke ni kubuild tension and then kurelease vizuri. You see, tuseme nikwambie, kinyozi wetu alishikwa juzi juu ya kuuza bangi. Create tension. Then nikwambie hata mimi siko najua alikuwa kinyozi. You see, so umerelease. No, so there's a inaitwa deflection. Also kuna comedy that's created by exaggeration. Kuna comedy inakreatiwa na wase ku make fun of, like to mimic people. Mkiwa shule kuna watu walikuwa wameiva to make fun of teachers, because now they have made a very serious thing look very so
like the stereotype people have.
Exactly. So let's say like ridiculous. It was funny because they took something as tense as Moi. And then made him dance. You see, so when you do all that thing, so like there's a technique. There are many techniques that are around comedy, but it's always about me creating a pattern and you not expecting it, and then I say something that you should expect.
So like let's talk about the competition in the field. You know that there is this sketch comedy, the stand-up comedy. Tunajua kuna watu akina kama Crazy Kenama, mito wako huko nje. Na tunajua hii nini ya nature sketch comedy, what Kena does. Inaleta a lot of competition when it comes to stand-up comedy. How are you able to deal with the situation? Because watu wengi tunapata siku hizo wana watch Crazy Kenama, kina Flacco, but sasa wewe you're doing like this stand-up comedy. So how are you able to like cope up with the field?
Okay, so both can exist at the same time, yeah? Sketch comedy is important because sketch comedy allows you to consume it at the convenience of your home. I don't need to take out my phone, laugh, and nini. Now, stand-up comedy now, it takes so much more work for the stand-up comedy because inamaanisha I have to stand in front of you. And a stand-up comedy is the feedback is immediate. Exactly. Hakuna nilikuwa funny, like you will know. So I don't think I will not call it competition per se. because there can never be enough comedy.
And then the audience, they're different people. Audience.
No, even if it's the same people, I'm saying hakuna time doesn't mimi nimecheka sana nimechoka kucheka. Like life is so hard. You need someone who will make you laugh. And the more people who can make us laugh, the better. I always say there is enough space for everyone in the comedy scene. It's not a CCC, we're not rappers, we're not trying to battle each other out. No, me, I always say if Crazy Kana is having an amazing following and is doing a thing, there's people he's reaching and those are his people and it's working, Me, I have my people and I'm reaching them and it's working. If our people combine, even better. But now stand-up comedy, we like it. I like stand-up because the money's at the gate, you know. It's like umeingia hapo umetoa pesa. See, hujacheka sawa lakini mimi nimekula. Unajua? But sketch comedy requires more patience to get money. To make money from sketch comedy, you need a lot more patience because it means you have to wait and get a certain number of viewers. Uzuri wa sketch comedy ukishaomoka really good. The people who can combine who are both good at sketch comedy and stand-up comedy, like Mamito, she's a really good stand-up comedian. And she's a really good sketch comedian. But the thing is with sketch comedy, the advantage is the people you don't go looking for an audience. The audience is on your phone, you see. Now stand-up comedy, the beauty is I can be called to perform. Let's say to the comedians who tour are not sketch comedians. It's stand-up comedians who tour, you see. So like if you're going to call a comedian to, I don't know, Dubai, you're going to call a stand-up comedian. You're not going to call a sketch comedian because there is no sketchiness. Ridiculous for people who walikuwa wameweza kuhack. They would do sketches on stage. They combined both elements. But for most of the time, that's the big difference between stand-up and sketch comedians. Just that one is you create your own situation with the showing. You show us. Stand-up, I tell you. So I tell you, we were seated here, 3 people. I don't tell you, you just see 3 people seated. So that's the difference between stand-up and sketch comedy.
You're back home.
Yes.
So how does it feel to come back home? And do you are you getting poked outside there like, hey, is it like different like in Nairobi?
It's different a bit in the sense that here, it's people who knew you growing up. Who are like, now we see you're doing well, so it's a good thing, and they want to give you random advice about what in Nairobi it's different because now you meet fans of the show, right? Yes. And they want to take pictures, they want to, and also they expect you to be a celebrity, not a comedian, you see. So you find me in a place you're like, so unashangaa, yes, umeniona wapi, unajua umeingia tu kibanda, it's a hard day for yourself, unapata na t-shirt ongeze dondo, so uko like but also the thing is, for comedians, the less out of touch you are with the ground, the less funny you become. So like, that's a big problem of when you change your lifestyle too, which of course you should change it. If sisemi wenda ulale huko chini ndio kwa relatable, at you buy rags. But nasema, there are things I do for myself nicely, which I do in quiet. There are things maybe I have some more money now, I do for my family once in a while. But at its core, I'm happy that I got this when I was older. Kama ningepata nikiwa a bit younger, ningekuwa na
caught up.
But so it's the whole the thing for it comes and goes. Like it's not I'll be known the next couple of years, but in a few years no one will even know I existed. So like, you know, you ever meet someone, you're like, it could happen, or I could not be in that space I am right now, you see. And the thing is I always say don't live within your means.
Exactly.
Live within. And then also the thing of when you are known by a lot of people, you feel a lot of pressure, but they're not even giving you. They may see you that moment and feel it, but after they leave you, they go and think about their own lives. And so that's what you need to realize, that you're not as important as you think you are in your head. So in that moment, yes, they'll be like, la 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 la. But then after they go and think about their mother, their who left them, who is with them now, because they have their own things. And once you realize that, because if you get addicted to the nice things you're told, the bad things will crush you. Because I've been told really mean things on the internet, but the reason they didn't faze me so much was because even the good ones, I didn't take them to, like, of course I'm happy people enjoy the show and enjoy the art, but I don't want 76 things about that you didn't know. Number 7 will shock you. You know, I like spend your life na date nani anafanya nini na hiyo, you know, like come enjoy the art, laugh, we can talk after that, and then after that we both go our own ways as Kenyans who are struggling in our own
That's really, really amazing. You're so down to earth, baby. Okay, so as we wind up the show, so what would you like to tell other comedians out there? Because you know that this field is wide and there are so many people who want to venture in it. So what would you like to tell them?
I think something I imitated, comedy is not just a talent, it's mostly a skill. It's something you can get better at with time. So one is to watch people you admire.
Yes.
And when you watch people you admire, don't steal their jokes per se, watch their technique.
Yeah.
Think of a joke you really like and say, how did that person think of something like that? What was the pattern of that person coming up with a joke like that, you see? Or another thing is put yourself out there. Now no one is what a platform wameisha. This is the internet has leveled the ground for very many of us, but now stand-up is special because stand-up you will need to be in front of actual people, and there's a big gap. Like people want to go outside and consume comedy. They don't want to just consume it here. They want to go on a night out and laugh. So in Nyeri, especially, I think so. We started a collective. We started a thing where we are touring across different towns. We went to Nakuru, Mombasa, Nanyuki. So we are trying to look for places where, and every time we go, we first meet with the local comedians, do a one-day workshop with them. Okay. So we finish that one-day workshop with them. Now the next night, because we have a show, we let them start the show. Okay, before you continue, have you met anyone in Nyeri? Are you like doing a show in Nyeri? We can tell them. Soon, but I don't want to give out dates that I'm, because the election is coming up and that stops a lot of things. Okay. Yeah. But after that we'll figure it out. But at its core, it's building an audience who are going to come. We went to Nanyuki for the first time. Yes. We were scared no one even knows us. So when we got there, we found like and we booked a very small venue. So we were over 120 people who were trying to get in, and as we were planning for 40. Oh, wow. So you see, and the thing is also for our comedians, don't think about crowds and fame. Think about getting good at what you do. Yeah, once you get really good at what you do, those other things will come. And your passion should also drive you. Yeah, so once it drives you, like you say a joke, you're like, okay, how can I make that joke funny? How can I make that joke better? And now outside the joke part, how can I be a better public speaker, right? How can I hold people in tension when I speak? Yes. Or how do I talk faster, or how do I talk much slower? You see, so in a way that you can have what you're listening to. I can like you're an interviewer, like I know you build suspense. You will never guess what happened today. Yeah. It's harder for me to just go and say. So yesterday I want to draw you in. So things you learn from, go back. Remember you are from fall literature. Take out those notes. It works in real life. Like see, how do I use irony? How do I use satire? Exactly. Those are life skills that you can be an easy person to tell. Like if you're a better storyteller, you become a better comedian. Exactly. Yeah. All right, so maybe people would like to follow you on your social media handles, and probably can even tell them a little more about the show that airs on Sunday. Guys, make sure that you watch the show. We're on a break right now. The first season just ended, so we're probably going to start the next season at the beginning of the month, August. So the show is called Too Much Information with Ngachira. It has a lot of it's a satire show. It's modeled on the Daily Show, the one in America, because it's produced by the same guys. On the other hand, if you want to watch a lot of my stand-up, go to my Instagram, Anto_Tai, and then you'll find other guys called the Stand Up Collective, and Punchline Comedy Club Nairobi on YouTube. You're going to see comedians who are doing a lot of English comedy, a lot of mature comedy, and you are going to have a really good time seeing it. Okay, and before we even wind up, I'd like to talk about the satire thing, because I know most of the time you attack politicians. Do you get a little bit attacked by? Yeah, of course, there's always that pushback, but Kenya is a country where freedom of speech. Yeah, we have so it's good for us to push it. So that even if you're threatened, you only push it back so far. Yeah. Like we meet Ugandan comedians and they're like, how do you even say those things about Museveni? And we're like, as we don't care, he comes and beats us. You know, like these are free countries, you see. And Kenyans don't realize because the people who fought for us to enjoy freedom of expression. So when you have a right, use it. Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't use it, someone is always trying to push it back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming to the show, and guys, make sure that you have watch his show on Sunday at 8:30.
8:30 p.m. on NTV, and make sure that you have followed him and you have subscribed. And thank you so much for watching the show, and I hope you have enjoyed and have gotten a lot of inspiration. This is he's born and raised in Nyeri, guys, so there's nothing that should hold you back. So please make sure that you have followed him, watch his shows, support him, support kijana wa Nyeri. Asante sana. So make sure that you have also watched and subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.